Hello everybody, welcome to Canada. This is 24 Flying and today I am going to take you on board of my Boeing 767 freighter from Vancouver to Winnipeg in Canada. We are flying the 767 by flight factor and step to sky in X-Plane 11 today. And we're going to be flying as a cargo jet flight. So cargo jet flight 281 is our flight today from Charlie Yankee Victor Romeo to Charlie Yankee Whiskey Golf. We just got finished loading up. Let's get into the cockpit and let's continue with our checks. So aircraft just got loaded up. We are carrying 20 tons of fuel on board and carrying 42 tons of cargo, which brings our zero fuel weight to 133.7 tons. And we can start entering this stuff in here. So performance in it will go 133.7 for zero fuel weight. And then our gross weight 153.8 is checked on my flight plan as well. Reserves today, we are carrying 45 minutes of extra fuel on top of our legal reserves. So I'm gonna enter that. 45 minutes in this case is 3.8 tons. So 3.8 into the reserves section here. Cruising altitude. We are going to be cruising at flight level 350 today. So 350. Cruising altitude. And cost index for the flight is 49, calculated by SimBrief. Might give us insufficient fuel warning. It doesn't. So that's fine. Then we'll go takeoff reference page. I'm going to be doing a flaps 10 takeoff, I think. Yep, let's go for a flaps 10 takeoff. That's a possibility, right? That's 15, so let's make that flaps 15. See what the numbers are that we're going to get. That looks okay. So we're going to go flaps 15 takeoff because we're quite heavy with CG position of 30% and 2.5 units of trim required, full takeoff thrust, and we're gonna go V1 is 139, V rotate is 144, and V2 is 151. With a gross weight of 153.8, it's gonna go down a bit when we taxi, but we're gonna keep these speeds. That's checked. Then we can continue with the rest of our procedure. We'll go to our overhead. I want to go to the overhead. There it is. We will select both yaw dampers on. And engine controllers to normal. Closing the guards. Hydraulics panel. All system pressure lights are illuminated. Quantity lights are extinguished. And right engine primary pump on. Then center 1 and center 2 electric primary pumps on. Oh, correction, off. Yeah, it's supposed to be off. And the left also on for the engine pump. Demand pump selectors are all three off. Pressure lights are still illuminated. Alright. HF radio not required. So we're gonna leave that as is. Standby power selector is auto. Battery is set. APU generator, we'll turn the switch on. Utility bus is auto. Generator control switches on. Utility bus on. And I think we can start the APU. Do a quick read through here. I think it's a good time to start our APU. So we'll go APU selector to start. And then when it shows up run, we'll move it to on and not let it spring back. Waiting for it to show run. Coming up there, should be appearing pretty shortly. Run on. Lighting panel. Alright. I'll get a little bit of light in here. Then position lights, and that's it. Logo light not required. This is not required. Oh, suddenly got dark. A little bit of dome lights. Alright, lighting panel as required. Emergency lights armed. Just getting back into the flow here. Passenger oxygen light is off. Ram air turbine is off, lighted out. Engine control panel. Ignition on 1 is fine. And engine start selectors auto. Next page of the procedure. Fuel jettison panel is set. Fuel panel. Left forward is extinguished, all others are illuminated. That's checked. I shouldn't turn those on yet, so let's leave it as is. Anti-ice panel, not required for now. Go up here, then we'll go window heat on. I'm gonna flow and check, that's easier. So F is set, passenger signs, auto. Auto 1, auto rate selector here. This is set. Landing altitude. I'm gonna go over quickly check my chart of Winnipeg. Do a quick check here. Landing altitude is 784. So we can decrease this all the way up to 800 feet. 800 feet selected. Alright. Cooling is required, this is all as required. Up here we will select all auto for our temperature controllers. Trim air, recirculation fans on. Cockpit temperature auto. Oh, there it is. And packs auto. It's the APU on the pack that we can hear now. Reduce that noise a bit, and we can turn all 3 isolation valves on. APU bleed is on, and engine bleeds on as well. Then we can check with our checklist that we did everything. So cabin control, trim air, all done. Casper fan, flight deck, back control, auto, bleed air. Isolation switches are on, bleeds are on and off, illuminated, pure bleed is on, then we can continue with the rest. Both flight directors can come on. VOR DME is auto, manual, oxygen. Test my oxygen system here. Checked. And checked as well. instrument source panel select. Let's get rid of you for a second. Is left, left, left. So that's exactly what we want. Flight instruments. Let's go back to our map page quickly. Okay. Wings level, heading, and heading match with this one, airspeed match, altitudes. We need to set our altimeter. So our altimeter setting here in Vancouver, that's what I was trying to say. Let's check, is currently 3023. So 3023 is what we're gonna set up in our altimeter. Oh, a bug. 3023, and then in our standby 3023, and in our FOs 3023. If I can get there. There it is. Right, set. Autoland status checked. Alright. Landing gear panel. Down 3 green. And ground proximity override is off. Continue here. Reference is normal. Continue. ICAS upper checked. Lower engine checked. Status checked. Computer auto. Thrust reference. Takeoff. EFIS control panel. We will select a decision height of 200 feet. Go traffic on. Don't need terrain. I want airports and navigates. Map is fine. Weather will come on later. Then weather radar panel. Oh, let's get you out of the way. Go over. Weather 5 degrees up for the climb. Auto and gain set. That it's ready. And radios. So we're not going to be flying with ATC today because it doesn't work in explain default, and I'm not flying online. So we'll leave the VHF radios as required. Then we will do a quick check of our fire systems. Checked, indications are as required, and then for the engines, looks good, looks good, looks good. Checked. I want to set up my ILS for. No, I can do that later for the arrival. It's fine. Adjusted. All right. Flight director on, auto throttle armed. Oxygen checked, oxygen test, it's fine. It's really a multi-crew aircraft, so it's going a little bit slow paced, and that's why. Because it's a lot of stuff to get set up. Getting TCAS off on there, that's what we want. Takeoff, flight director. Land status checked. Auto brakes, RTO. Down, flap set, brake set. Seats, it's fine. Pre-flight checklist. Let's get our pre-flight checklist out. Okay, pre-flight. Pre-flight checklist, oxygen tested, flight instruments checked, gear pins removed, pre-flight checklist complete. Before start procedure, flight deck door is closed and locked. Yeah, we don't have a flight deck door system like that, so it's definitely closed and locked. We want our external doors to be locked, and we want everyone to get out of there. So we'll go airplane, close all, ground. Let's first disconnect the GPU. So on APU gen, and then remove all. Alright. Doors closed, CDU display is set, and I want legs for my friend here. Oh really? Init ref, legs. Nothing. Did I mess up here? It's fine, huh? Anyway, I'm not gonna be using that at all, so it's fine. Alright, CDU display is set. Takeoff thrust reference is takeoff. Indicated airspeed bugs. 151 is our V2 set. MCP set for V2. LNAV, VNAV armed. Initial heading is runway heading, which is 1 quick second, and I'll get it to you. Gonna be taking off on runway 26 left, which has a QFE of 263, so I set up 263. And we don't have any ATC, so we're gonna climb straight up to 350. Sound good? Sounds good. Exterior doors are closed. Briefings, mods required because I will just talk you through it. We're in the simulator. And start clearance, let's say we have obtained our start clearance. Alright. Looks like we are ready to start moving. So let's call our pushback guy and get a pushback ready for us. And then we can... we want to get out of here. Like this. Can they do something like this?
Ground to cockpit. Plan acknowledged. Call me through the menu when you are ready.
Alright. Sounds good. Then we can pressurize our hydraulics. So we'll go right hydraulic demand pump, selector, auto. Pressure lights extinguished. Center primary pumps on. Lights extinguished. And left selector auto checked, center auto. Right, fuel panel all on, crossfeed off, and nothing in the center, so no need. Set anti-collision lights on, recall. If I can remember where the recall button is. Ah, there it is, okay. Recall. Cancel first. Recall. Okay. Engine 1 and 2 shutdown. Hydraulics and parking brake. That's as required. Stabilizer trim. We can set our stabilizer trim to 2.5. Set. And 0, 0. Okay, stabilizer trim is set before start checklist. Checklist before start. Fuel, check 20 point, 20.1 sufficient, passenger signs set, windows locked, MCP is 151,263, 35,000 feet set, takeoff thrust toga, takeoff speeds 139,144,151 set, CDU pre-flight complete, rudder and aileron trim set, taxi and takeoff briefing. So we're going to be taxiing out of the stand towards runway 26 left via Delta, and then takeoff is normal takeoff, and we're going to follow it by a left turn on course. Flight door locked, that's before start, checklist complete. Alright, we're gonna ask for pushback.
Ground to cockpit. Tow is driving up.
Roger, cleared to connect. And in the meanwhile, we can set up our transponder. We want, let's say 2000 for standard IFR, but we're gonna altitude off. So it's just a regular transponder now. Tow truck is driving through the jet blast fence there. Interesting. There is big tow truck.
Okay, all doors and hatches are closed. Ready to connect.
Roger. Alright, they're coming to connect and we are gonna be ready for it. So, hello everyone, welcome to who just joined me here. I am 24 Flying, and we are gonna be pushing back for our flight to Winnipeg from Vancouver in the 767-300 freighter by flight factor in X-Plane 11. I hope you enjoy the flight. I certainly do like making these. If you do like, you can always let me know by liking and commenting something in the comments or in the chat. And if you have any advice or anything you want to say to me, just feel free to let me know. Alright.
Tow connected and bypassed and in survey. Release parking brake.
Parking brake released.
Starting pushback. And you may start engines.
Starting engines. Alright, we can start the engines. Engine start. Secondary engine indications selected. Backs off. Cancel messages. Start sequence 1, then 2. Starting engine 1. Engine 1 to ground. Looking for N2. Once it gets 20%, I can switch on the fuel selector. 20, run. Give light off, engine start. Looks like it's starting nicely. Starter disengaged. on bus, generator on bus. Right, starting number 2. Number 2 engine starter to ground. Same thing here, but I can maybe even show you from the outside a bit. Well, this doesn't sound nice. Stay in here. 20%. Fuel selector to run. I have the light off. Engine is starting. Engine is starting nicely. Exactly what we need. Starter disengaged. Should see the generator come on bus pretty soon. Engine is stabilizing. There's generator on bus. Looks like we're facing the right way. This is nice. This is Delta. There's Delta 5. So we want to continue straight up to Delta 7. Runway is right there. Alright, after start checklist, APU off. Engine anti-ice. We'll go on. Back selectors, auto. Left, right,
operation
alternate.
complete. Set parking brake.
Parking brake set.
Disconnecting tow. Stand by.
Alright, so continuing isolation valves off. And we should go APU bleed off as well. So engine bleeds only now. Right. Once the ground equipment is clear, we can set flaps. And do a flight control check. Right, let's let them disconnect. Alright, so let me talk a bit about myself. So I am a student pilot and I just restarted my instrument rating. I did part of it already in the United Kingdom and I am now doing the rest. So I had my first couple of flights.
Tow is disconnected and bypass pin has been removed. Hand signal on the left. We'll see you next time and have a safe flight.
Looking for you on the left and see you next time. Alright, as I was saying, I did the first couple of flights of the second part of my instrument rating, just getting into some flying again after a couple of months, and it had been really fun. I really enjoyed everything that I did there, and I think this is the perfect place for me to continue to get better. Alright, we should see him with his spin very shortly. There it is, ground equipment is clear. Select flaps at 15. Flaps 15 selected. Flight control check. Status display. Full forward. Checked. Full aft. Check. Left. Checked. Right. Checked. Rudder left. Checked. Rudder right. Checked. Flight controls are free and correct. Transponder is as required. Recall. currently on the DC fail for the IRSs. That's not good. Why is standby power off? Alright, and cancel message, recall checked. Okay. Before taxi checklist. Get that. Anti-ice on, isolation switches off, recall checked, auto brake, RTO, ground equipment is clear before taxi checklist complete. And we can start taxiing. Alright, so we can release the parking brakes, start taxiing forward, get our nose lights to taxi. Giving it a bit of power here. Why am I not getting any thrust response here? This is bizarre. Let's go quickly find out what's going on here. Aha, I think there might be some throttle maps which I don't want. These should be off. This thing should really be off. This is not being controlling in any way. I just use it as a USB hub currently. Let's select this. There it is. We have our full thrust control here. And taxi to the runway. We did a quick brake check before, so that's fine. Alright, so what is my background in flying? I'm currently flying a Piper Seneca, multi-engine complex aircraft, and I'm training to become a commercial pilot. So I have some whenever I have some free time, I like to fly around in the simulator, just for fun basically. But I try to apply procedures as far as I know them, as much as I can, because yeah, I just like it the way the airlines would do it. Just 1 second, I'm gonna have to change that nose wheel tiller thing because I don't use that anymore. It doesn't work properly. None. And then just taxi around using the rudder pedals. That's a bit better. Alright, as we are taxiing to the runway, we can do our takeoff briefing. So it's gonna be a normal takeoff from the left hand seat, runway 26 left, climbing up, passing 1000 feet. I will start my turn to the left to intercept our our route. If there's an emergency or any master cautions, master warnings, any issues before V1, I will stop on the runway and advise ATC. If there's any emergencies after V1, we will take them up in the air, perform the drills at 400 feet and return back here. This looks pretty nice weather, so we're gonna turn back to Vancouver in case we need to. I would ask any questions, but I don't think there are any questions for this takeoff briefing. Alright. Looks like we're gonna be in for a little bit more of taxiing. Delta 5 coming up. And then Delta 7 is the one we want. Or Delta 9er even. We're gonna take Delta 9er, which is the far one. So we're gonna go over there. And that's Delta 5, Delta 7, Delta 9er is the last taxiway there. Our engines look like they are warm. Yes, they are fine. So the engines are fine. We're gonna hold short of the runway at the hold short bar here on Delta. I guess the Delta 9 taxiway is a little bit too close to the runway to get people to hold short there. Alright, we are stopped. Set our parking brake. Parking brake set. Before takeoff, engine is warmed up. Before takeoff, checks. Takeoff briefing reviewed. Packs. Auto flaps 15 set. Stabilator trim 2.5 units. Checked. Flight controls are checked. Cabin is secured. Before takeoff checklist complete. Do our overhead scan real quick. This is all set. All set. All set. Everything here looks good. We want runway turnoffs on. White strobe lights, landing lights on. This is all set here. Checked. And checked. Looks like our flow is good. And we can start taxiing onto the runway. We are cleared for takeoff, runway 26 left. Alright, select 40 and we're gonna do a rolling takeoff. 40 and stable, but we'll check that again once we're on the runway. And what I mean 40 is 40%. It's actually 47% N1 now. And we use this thrust setting to check if our engines are both working and working at the same rate. It's something that we do in our Seneca as well. We set 2000 RPM before we get going. Be sure that our engines are actually providing the power in both sides that we are requiring them to. Okay, lining up on the runway here. All of this is still taxiway, so we can't use that for takeoff. But we can use it to set our thrust. Lights are on, everything that is required. Looks like we are good to go. Okay. Takeoff. N1. Toga. Thrust set, airspeed live. $80 knots hold. V1, rotate. Positive rate, gear up. Gonna continue straight until we pass 1000 feet. AGL. It's 400, so we can go flaps 5. $1,000 and 1 VNAV speed. To follow our LNAV. Alright. Keep climbing. Flying in the turn here. Quickly turn our nose light off. Flaps 1. Accelerating. Flaps up. And we should be rolling out pretty shortly. It's a long turn here. And if you can see the airport maybe off to our left side. There it is, the airport of Vancouver. Continue our turn. We're not flying a standard instrument departure today. SimBrief did not recommend one, so I'm just flying pretend radar vectors direct en route. Slowly climbing with our big bird. It's heavy, so that's why we are getting rather poor climb performance. Also, we were in a turn, so you get worse climb performance in a turn. Always. That's physics. Now that we're leveled off, leveled out, rolled out, that's what I want to say, is we're climbing a lot more. And let's keep flying it manually. I like flying it manually for a bit. You can go after takeoff checks. Altimeters are set as required. 18,000 is the transition altitude here. So takeoff checks complete. Following these flight directors on, those magenta things, they are called flight directors. You probably know this, but it's what the autopilot would be flying if it was engaged, but it's not, and we are following those. So you put your little white square of the airplane on the intersection between these two magenta lines. You have different kinds of flight directors as well, but this is the one that this airplane has. You also get the option to have the other one here, but I like the two lines. Alright, as you pass 10,000 feet in a second, I will select the autopilot. Let's check our temperatures for a quick second here. 0 degrees outside, so let's go wing anti-ice on. Because we're in visible moisture, or it looks like visible moisture, so I want to have anti-icing available. Alright, for those of you who didn't see my previous stream yet, I can recommend it. It's in this 747 by Supercritical Simulations. And you can see how easy it is to fly the 7.6. The 7.4 should be pretty similar. However, I had a lot of difficulties controlling that thing. It was really, really hard to fly with the controls that I had available for me. And also the automations really weren't up to par compared to this airplane, the Flight Vector 7.6. It looks really pretty though, so go ahead and watch that video if you want. It's I do recommend it. And we are breaking out of the clouds. Pretty cool. There's 10,000. Let's go left command. Left command. Let the autopilot take over. Landing lights can come off. Runway turn-off, they could have come off earlier, but that was a flying the airplane, which is more important than switching switches. He's out as required. Then we can go select passenger signs to off. And that's it for our pre-cruise checks at 10,000. Really not much more to do here. So we're gonna let the airplane accelerate and climb up. Once we get to our cruise climb speed, we're gonna climb much, much more efficiently. Alright, our flight is gonna be about 2.5 hours. So including our descent and arrival. So most of the flight I'm gonna just let it stay here, and if anything comes up, I'll talk to you about it. Let's get our weather radar on. I forgot. We want weather radar, not this weather. There isn't anything here anymore. I should have had that on the clouds. Oh, that's a bad thing of me. It's because I've been so busy with the airplane. It's not that I'm the expert at Boeing 767s, that's why I didn't get that done yet. Anyway, I'm going to take a short break and I'll talk to you once we do something else. It's probably going to be the next. At 18,000 we're going to set standard. Although, since we are not going to be leveling off, I can set standard already. So it's going to be 9er 2. The rule is you have to have it set before you pass through the transition altitude. So as long as we don't level off below 18,000 feet, we should be able to set it up before we get there to 9er 2 on all 3 altimeters. So that's also a step that I don't have to do anymore once we get there. Well, I'll talk to you guys in a bit once we get closer to Winnipeg. Hello there. We are about to level off. That's 300 feet to go with 292 sets. And once we level off, I'm gonna go quickly check our configuration. So hello. Welcome to everybody who's just joining in. We are currently en route to Winnipeg. We departed from Vancouver just a couple of minutes ago. We are at flight level 350 now. We are level off and VNAV path speed is engaged. Active economy cruise here as well. Let's do a quick overhead scan. Everything is exactly set up like we want. Passenger signs are off. So our colleague that might be deadheading with us on board here can move about the cabin. I can switch off navigate. I will leave airport on and data as well. Down here we can start setting up for our arrival maybe. Might be a good idea to do that pretty soon. Let's see how much time we have. 22:01 Zulu is our estimate. It's currently 20:30 Zulu, so in about an hour and a half we should be arriving in Winnipeg. We still have some time to do our landing stuff later, so I'm gonna leave you to it. I'm gonna relax a bit and I'll talk to you guys later once we get a little closer. So yeah. Hey, hello everyone. This is 2 for Flying, and we are still nicely cruising along to Winnipeg, Manitoba, I think. And let's start talking about our arrival. I want to get this stuff in here. We're still very far out. Actually, see how far out we are. $690 miles. Okay, maybe it's a bit soon to get going on the arrival. I can't even select the arrivals yet. So, I'm sorry, I was just kidding there. Apparently, we're not going to be doing that right now. Let's just keep cruising along. Do a quick check here. Everything is fine. We still have all the fuel we need. We're gonna have 10 tons when we arrive in Winnipeg. Everything looks great here. Airplane looks very, very happy. I'm still monitoring it. I just don't have much to say. Oh, why is my APU on? I want the APU off. I thought I switched that off once I was done with my engine stuff. Anyway, we'll burn a little less when we have the APU off. But I will just let the airplane fly and not say that much. So, see you guys later. Hello everyone, welcome back. It's me again, 2for Flying here, and we are getting closer to our destination. So I'm gonna start preparing our flight for our arrival in Winnipeg. So what we need to do is we go to our flight management system here, and let's select arrivals. We're gonna be using the ILS runway 31 Zulu, so ILS Zulu 31. Via Dutroux and flying the Baffin to arrival via Yankee Bravo Romeo. Selected. Execute. Check here in the next page. And the Yankee Bravo Romeo there. Activate. Looks like it did a good job with setting up everything in here. This is exactly what we are planning on doing. And if we look on our display, you can see our top of descent is showing now. So we'll go over here. And we can actually see when our top of descent is. Normally we should get the indication here, but I'm sure we're gonna get it. Doesn't matter, our top of descent is 320 miles away. Or no, sorry, I was wrong. It's about 270 miles away. That's what it is. So it's about 270 miles away. Let's get everything else set up. So that is checked. We will go in here. Go init ref. Get the speed already in. Flap speed checked. And then ILS 110.3. Confirm 110.3. And we'll select 110.3 in our ILS window. 110.3. Final approach course of. See what my plate says. Final approach course 315. So I'll select 315 in here. Set up. Excellent. And we're still quite a while away from our descent. See how much fuel we have left. 11 tons of fuel on board. See what we estimate to have at our arrival. 10.6. Should be fine. Great. For the next couple of miles, nothing much more to do, but I'll stick around and I'll tell you when we have to do something else. But it's gonna go a bit quiet again. Everything will get more everything will get more exciting once we get in our descent, ready to get landing for the approach. Hello, hello. We are back. We are 30 miles from our top of descent approximately, and we are gonna be descending into Winnipeg really shortly. So I'm gonna brief my star real quick. We're gonna go from Brandon VOR, which is Yankee Bravo Romeo, which is 30 miles away, down to Bravo Echo Foxtrot Alpha November, and for the approach that we're doing today, we want to be between 13,000 and 9,000 feet. Once we get there, excuse me, then Oscar Delta Bravo India Tango, then Lima Echo Papa Echo Mike at 8,500 or above, and then DAFSU 5,500 de Tru, and then inbound for the ILS. Alright, we are getting closer. We're getting the reset Mcp altitude button, which means that our altitude that we're gonna set is for the approach 3,000 feet is the platform, so let's select 3,000 feet. We could also select 5,500, but the autopilot knows that we have to level off first. So 3,000 feet is set, and then we can have the continuous descent. 10 miles from our top of descent, we are able to check that everything is fine, and then we can do our descent checklist. Pressurization, landing altitude is 800 set, recall checked, auto brake set, landing data update set, approach briefing. So we did a briefing for our arrival. We can do an approach briefing as well because we are about to descend. Everything is set up. We have time for that. Approach briefing. We are flying the ILS Zulu runway 31 in Winnipeg, Manitoba. Just Charlie Yankee Whiskey Golf. 110.3 is our ILS frequency set. Course 315. We will do a glide slope check at the NDB 2,400 feet. MSA is 2,900 feet in the western sector. Okay, we're descending and I need some drag, so I'm gonna get some speed brake up. And we're gonna make sure that we descend. Alright, there it is. No more drag required. Nicely in the descent. We can zoom in as well. Then continue with the approach checklist. The approach briefing. So 2,900 is the MSA in the western sector where we're coming from. If at any point we deviate from our approach, we have to be sure that we are above the MSA. Alright, we have GNSS required. We do have that available. And the intercept is based on 3,000. That is fine. Alright, minimas are 200 feet radio altimeter, which is set 977 height, but we're gonna altitude, but we're gonna use radio altimeter. RVR required is a half a statute mile. To check my weather, what do we have currently? Currently, weather in Winnipeg is telling me 15 statute miles. Broken 1,800, broken 15,000. Temperature -2, dew point -5, altimeter 2972. Alright. So we're gonna go to a low altimeter setting. So we have to be sure that we definitely get it before 18,000 feet. And quite low broken clouds. Should be fine. Wind is 01011 knots. Close enough to the runway, I would say. Alright, no approach ban and a missed approach. We are going to be climbing straight ahead to 3,000 feet on track 315 to Victor Oscar Golf India Golf. And then as required, shuttle climb. And there's a hold at Vogig where we can go if we need to. Alright, we passed Yankee Bravo Romeo, so we're in the arrival now. Next is BFAN between 9,000 and 13,000. We should be able to do that. And that is 61 miles away currently. The entire leg is 76 miles. Alright. Looking good. We are nicely stable and established in our descent. Let's get our passengers in their seats. And confirm everything is set up as required. Yes, looks good. Then complete our descent checks. Descent checklist completed. Next is approach checklist, not required yet. 10,000 to go until we get to 18,000 feet. Currently flight level 273, descending via the star. So, once we get to about 10,000, I'm gonna fly manually. Let the or maybe no, that's not what's going to happen. I'll fly manually once we feel like we're comfortable, have the airplane set up as required. Because it's single crew, there's a lot of stuff to do, like lighting and switches that have to be set, which is really difficult when you're not looking. When you're looking up here, you're not looking ahead. When you on your instruments, you can't see. You need a little bit of drag, so we're gonna give it to the airplane. I have a key binding set up for my speed brakes on my throttle on the side stick. So as controls, I'm using my Thrustmaster TCA side stick and throttle quadrant. They're okay. Really happy about them. Gives me plenty of options to set up equipment. Give it a little bit of more to get the drag required. You can see that we have spoilers up on the wings a little bit to get the airplane slowed down. There it is. Oh, there's a bit of turbulence there. As we, or wind shear is more the word that we wanted to use. As we got a weather update here in X-Plane. ILS is set up. That's perfect. Let's get weather radar down. Since we're going to be flying through clouds, I am going to be turning on my anti-icing, but not yet. We don't need them as for now. Alright, we can reduce the range on our display as well. I can actually see something on our display. BFAN is coming up right now. Alright, just did a quick check on my flight planning here. It is looking good. It's gonna be cold in Winnipeg. but it's still technically winter, so that's what we can expect, right? Canada. So we're gonna get anti-icing on for sure. We're gonna have to be where there's some cloud. No rain forecast, so no need to worry about that. However, it could be that there is some rain, and we're definitely gonna have icing in the clouds. That's broken 1800, and that's AGL, so plenty of time to get visual with the runway. Coming up on 18,000 pretty shortly. Let's go to 29er72. All three altimeters here. Oh. There's 29er72. 29er72 on the standby, and then my first officer's instrument. 29er72 set, cross-check 3 times, and they read the same. Altimeters are set. Can start at the approach board. Set. Okay. We don't need that yet. First couple of clouds here. We're at low power setting, so I can go anti-icing on anyway because we're not losing any power. Anti-icing is on wings and engine because it's very cold. It's -11 total, so it's possible that we still have icing. We're not in the very unlikely range. Like when it gets very cold, icing actually reduces because all the moisture is already ice, and the only airframe icing that we usually get is from super cooled liquid water droplets, which freeze upon impact. So it's water that's actually below freezing, but it hasn't found anything yet to freeze to, because it needs some structure to freeze to. So once it comes in contact with our airplane, it will freeze immediately. Since we are in that temperature range and we came from very high, so our airframe is very cold, we want to be definitely using anti-icing for this. As you can see, we are getting through some cloud, which could form ice on our wings, and we don't want that. Icing, some bad effects that icing can cause are your weight increases, so you need more lift, but your wing profile changes, and you actually generate more drag as well, and you reduce your amount of lift generated. So all bad things happening. So you need a higher angle of attack, but you'll stall sooner, and it's really unsafe to be flying while iced up. That's why aircraft that are certified to fly into known icing, they have equipment to prevent ice from building up. In our airplane, it's bleed air anti-ice, so it's hot air from the engines that's blown through the, for the wing anti-ice it's blown through the leading edge, the front of the wing, and for the engine anti-ice it's blown through the inlets. I can show you from the outside view. So the leading edge of the wing and the inlets, that's what I'm talking about. We fly through some clouds. Okay, we need some drag, get some speed brake in. I think you might break through the clouds pretty soon. That would be nice. Or this is the first layer. This is probably the first layer. Yes, broken 15,000. That makes sense. That's the first broken layer. There should be a broken layer at 1,800 as well, although it's not here yet because we can still see the ground. And let's see, 5 miles from Bethlehem. did I select flaps there? I didn't mean to select flaps. That was a total accident. They normally don't go out because you have load. It's automated system. I don't know if it's in the 7.6. I accidentally just I touched the button without intending to, so my bad. It's a simulator, luckily. Okay, 2 miles from Bethune, we are good on our altitude. We might need some speed brake to slow down. No, I'm just gonna let it like this. It's calculated this before. 250 knots once we get there, and we are below 13,000, so we are in the safe zone. Next is Oddbit, no restrictions. Then Lapham at or above 8,500. Alright, we restarted our descent 6 miles from Oddbit. Okay, things are going to happen very, very quickly now. We are in the final stages of our arrival procedure here. Let's give it a little bit of air brake, speed brake to get back to that speed. So we are in a descent now. Verify that we don't have any discontinuities in our legs here. Checked. And then we can go back to descent. Okay, we're on speed. Don't want the engines to spool up. Descending nicely as planned. Once we get close to 10,000 feet, we can turn our landing lights on. One mile from Oddbit. Next, Lapham, 8,500 or above. That's 10,000 feet. Wing landing lights on. And fasten seatbelt sign is on. Get a little bit of drag in there to be sure that we actually slow down. Should be fine. Okay, let's reduce our range on the display, then we can see more of the approach. And we are ready to make that approach a good one. Okay, let's read up on my speeds for the flaps. Alright, approach checklist. Altimeters 2972 set, navigates 110.3 and 315 sets. Approach checklist completed. And landing checklist to go. Lapham 8,500 or above, confirmed. Next is Davsu 220 knots, 5,500. Everything looking great, we're nicely established on our descent. Next, There's 8,000. 5,500 is the next altitude restriction. Select speed for flaps. Speed for flaps is 250. So go flaps 1 once we can. Slow it down. I wasn't paying attention that much. We actually sped up quite a bit, which wasn't good. Now we are slowing down nicely. 5,500 coming up. There it is. Speed is checked. Flaps 1. Flaps 1. Selected. And we're updating flaps 1 here. 5,500 maintaining. Tafse, next to through 3,000 or above. And we want to descend to 3,000 to intercept the ILS once we get past there. Alright, this is what I would consider the end of the arrival. So this is the approach. Cabin is secure. 220 knots. Speed is checked. Flaps 5. Flaps 5. And move the speed bug to F speed. Anti-Icing is still on. We're about to enter some cloud here. Give it a little bit of speed brake here. Energy management isn't the best. Next speed is 210 for flaps 15. There, through. Get the next flap speed in there. Speed checked below 210, flaps 15. Through arm approach. Approach armed. Glide slope and localizer armed. A 1,000 to go. 2-9er, 7-2 set. That's the altitude alert. Okay, can we go flaps all the way up to 20? Yes, we can, if we need to. 2 miles from our turning, we're gonna turn pretty soon to intercept the localizer. 400 feet above our altitude, we want to be at 3000 until 6.8 DME. There's our turn. Radio altimeter is live. Altitude capture. Localizer. Altitude hold. Localizer active. Glide slope active. Gear down. Flaps 20. Gear down 3 green. Speed checked. Flaps 25. Half scale deflection. Flaps 40. Or 30, correction. Glide slope. Landing checklist. Cabin secured, speed brake. Armed. We'll go nose lights, taxi and runway turnoffs. On landing checklist completed. Alright. Manual flight. I have control now. Runway in sight. And manual thrust. Just for fun. Alright, we are slightly low, slightly left of localizer, but correcting both. Slightly slow on speed, so a little bit more power can be used. Nicely trimmed out. Final gears down, flaps are full. Missed approach altitude is 3000 set. Alright. I'm zoomed in this bit to be able to see my instruments actually. Had a little bit of an issue there. Seeing them approaching 1000. Stable, missed approach altitude is set. Okay, looking really good on the localizer. We are slightly above the glide slope, but correcting. Slight crosswind here. Be sure to have that correction in. Slightly drifting off to the left of the runway. We're correcting. That was 500 stable. Landing. Slightly low, but we're visual. Slightly slow. Give it that power, not sink short of the runway.
100. 50. 40. 30. 20.
Oh, a little bit of balloon.
10.
That is reversers. Reversers normal. Auto brakes are disarmed. That's manual braking. $60 knots. And let's vacate at the end. Alright, I think that was a pretty good landing here on my part. Let's go flaps up. And then we can stop here for our after landing checks. It's like a parking brake briefly. After landing checks. We will go speed brakes checked, APU can come on start. Weather radar is off, flaps are up, transponder standby. And that's mostly it. Let's go to the airport. There's run. So on airport diagram, we are at the end of runway 31 at Papa. So we're gonna taxi via Papa down to see where the cargo area is. Papa Foxtrot Hotel Victor Hotel. That's what we're gonna do. And we're gonna get going. So welcome to Winnipeg, everyone. I hope you enjoyed traveling with us today. So the rest of the stream today is just going to be the replay of the landing and the shutdown procedures. I hope you will stick around for those as completing your flight. From Golden Dark back to Golden Dark is really satisfying in Flight Simulator. I'm just not 100% sure on what stand I want to be parking at in a second. there is no need to adhere to the really strict speed limits here. We can use a bit of thrust to get going, because we're still heavy even though we burnt a lot of fuel. 7.9 tons left, and we had 3.4 extra, so we used some of that. Partially because I forgot to turn the APU off in the beginning of the flight. Yeah, stuff like that can happen. That's why you're two of you, then stuff like that doesn't happen because you're cross-checking each other constantly. Okay, approaching the runway 36 ahead of us there. And we're gonna cross and then make a right down Foxtrot. Let's say that we are cleared to cross. And we can just cross the runway there. Alright. Cleared to cross. And then a right on Foxtrot. So the landing things had great landing. It wasn't butter, but I'm happy with great landing. It's been so long since I've flown the 7.6, so I'm actually pretty happy with how that went. I actually flew today in real life, and that landing was a bit more difficult. We had a lot of crosswind. When you're in a light airplane, you get blown around a lot. Yeah, we're getting close to the crosswind limits of the airplane, but still very safe, of course. Everything was within limits and no unsafe things, but it's just difficult, and it's why we practice. Let's see, where should I park this thing? There is some cargo, guys. We're gonna go over there. I did check out the cargo stand before I did the flight here, because this scenery, I just downloaded it from Threshold Forum. I can't remember the exact name. It's Maple Sim something. It's free. You can just get it in Threshold if you look up Winnipeg or Charlie Yankee Whiskey Golf. I recommend it. It's free. I didn't take the time to check this out that well yet. However, it doesn't cost anything, and it's better, probably better than the default. In Vancouver it was the default. There was another one available, but I didn't end up downloading it because it didn't look that much better than what I had default. And I'm not planning on buying any of the scenery because I'm getting issues when I get too detailed scenery anyway. It would be a shame. And it's a bit much for probably only flying here once or twice. Especially now that I'm getting a lot busier. One thing that I do consider getting is the Rotate MD-11 once that gets released. But that's gonna be another while before they release that, I think. Which is unfortunate. Because I would really like that. I've been looking for a trijet, and in real life I'm a real big fan of the MD-11 as well. I really like the way they look. Only thing is, I would need to find a better solution for my throttles then, since I'm using the Airbus ones, and there's only 2 throttle levers in my current setup. Obviously, by the time I can get the Rotate MD-11, I hope that I manage to get my hands on maybe a Bravo throttle quadrant, and that would be perfect for that. A Bravo throttle quadrant would also be perfect for my IFR training. It's really similar to the Seneca, which I'm flying currently. If you have it in the multi-engine configuration, the gear position, the flap position, it's all the same, except for the trim wheel is in a different spot, but when we're talking about those details, who cares anymore? Is there any room here? Can we park over there? Or can't we? Guess we should go that way anyway. It's a long taxi. The taxi is part of the long flight as well. Well, I hope I'm entertaining you. If you're looking for some nice relaxing airplane taxiing, then that's what I can give you now. One of our colleagues there in the 727. We're in the big 76. That's our little brother from Cargojet. I first was planning to fly from Vancouver to somewhere in the United States. However, I looked it up and Cargojet doesn't really do that. So I did a domestic flight from Vancouver to Winnipeg, which is on their website. Alright, what's this? Where can we park? Aha, next to that big MD-11, I guess. Now, you might be wondering, how do I steer? So I'm using the rudder pedals, which now have a binding that has, it's combined to the... Can we park there? Where should we park? I think we should park over there, honestly, because there isn't any room over here. It's bound to the rudder pedals, which is bound to the nose wheel steering. So I initially tried to bind it to my yaw control on my side stick, but the yaw control on the side stick is really bad. It's yeah, one thing that I don't like about the side stick is the yaw axis. It's completely broken. It's twitchy, and it's, yeah, without me inputting anything, it's constantly turning left. Even when you land, you have a nose wheel stuck to the left, so it's not ideal. So I just disabled it on all the aircraft, and I did it earlier today in the stream as well on this one, because I haven't flown this one since I decided to not use it anymore. But it's easier to steer it with your feet anyway. Alright, let's get it parked over there, shut it down, and then look at how my landing went. Okay, first left here. Let's get in there. Slow it right down. Taxi light off. Oh, my landing lights still on. That's not what I want. All of this stuff can come off. Not to blind anybody. There's one. It's a DC-10. Pretty close to an MD-11. And let's use the cheaty cam to get it perfectly lined up if possible. That truck would be blown away by my jet blast. Absolutely no chance. Okay, a little bit of correcting here. Let's call this good enough for us today. Parking brake set, shutdown checks. We have APU power, so anti-ice off. fuel control switches cut off. Seatbelt selector off. Hydraulic panel. Center air demand pump off. Left electric demand pump off. Center primary pumps off. Right electric demand pump off. Fuel pumps all off. Anti-collision light off. Left and right isolation switches on. With APU bleed active so we can have some packs anyway. Flight director switches off. Status messages checked. Let's see what's here. All normal. All normal. Checked. Recall. TCAS mode selector standby. And place jocks, so ops ground. Jocks stairs. GPU. Loader units. LSUs, that's what I want. All of you can come here, and then all of my doors can open. And APU, we will go power on bus, APU off. And this guy can turn off as well. Shutdown checklist. Shutdown checklist. Hydraulic panel set. A fuel pump. Oh. Negative. Let's reset. Yes, these engine hydraulic pumps off. Hydraulic panel. What's wrong? My hydraulic panel is set, right? Everything is off. Nothing changed. Anyway, fuel pumps are off. My fuel pumps are off. I don't see what's wrong. And weather radar is off. That's fine. Shutdown checks completed. Let's just leave it at this. And we don't need to secure today. Anyway, let's get looking at my replays. So we'll go replay. There. On final for the runway. One quick second, I need to bind that key to say replay control visibility. Alright, coming in. Look at that nice crab angle. Looks pretty nice. That's exactly what I'm expecting from our crosswind that we have. Increase in power there. We're gonna float because I did float a little. But we should be fine. I don't know what's going on with that sound. Okay, that doesn't look really what it would be. A little bit of a thud. And I'm not getting any spoilers. I think it's because we shut down and hydraulics are gone, but should be fine. We did have those deploy. Let's head back, see what our air traffic control friends saw from this landing. Nice approach. I'm actually pretty happy with how it went. I can be happy about this. Too bad that the replay doesn't show it that well with the speed breaks and the stuff. All right. One more look at what this looked like. On final. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed flying with me today here from Vancouver to Winnipeg in X-Plane 11. If you did, please consider leaving a like. It really does help me out. Also, if you like what I do, you can subscribe and see more. It's gonna be a little bit less content than what I'm used to doing, but it's gonna go up in quality, I'm sure, because I'm doing more training now in real life. So if you want to continue to see real life procedures try to be applied in X-Plane from a student pilot in the middle of his training, consider subscribing and ringing the notification bell to be alerted of any new videos or live streams. Share with one of your friends maybe if you want. It's always nice to get the message spreading. We can get out of replay mode for a sec. Our airplane is parked over there. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. See you guys later. Bye bye.